Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Mycelium Dialogues. This is our third one. And as we continue to progress on our habits of doing these podcasts, I'm quite excited about this one. At Mycelium Dialogues, we bring you conversations that explore fascinating intersection between nature, investment, sustainability in today's world. Here we speak to experts and innovators who are shaping how we interact with nature. How do we think about investments in landscapes which are rapidly evolving? And how do we essentially coexist? Whether you're an urban dweller reconsidering your connection with the natural world, or someone already on the path of sustainable living, this podcast is for you. Today, I'm actually super thrilled to dive into the future of real estate investment and the very idea of what does it mean to be a real estate investor in today's world with our special guest. Our guest today is someone who I've admired the passion towards what he does in the last 2 years of me knowing him. He's rethinking how we purchase real estate in an ever evolving city like Bangalore, where every square foot seems to have its own story. Ashish Acharya, founder of Propsoch, is an entrepreneur who's made it his mission not just to sell properties, but help people understand what they truly are investing in. Someone who challenges the status quo on how we view homes and our land. Ashish, welcome to the third edition of Mycelium Dialogues.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot, Vinod. First of all, for having me here and for talking a bit about my mission and really appreciate your support. Coincidentally, you being a mentor for me from IIM BNSRCL, it's a privilege to kind of share the stage with you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I still remember our coffee meet in Paper and Pie,
yeah, yeah,
which is where it began. I think I came in to mentor you, and then I went back with more questions than answers. That truly showcases the idea of doing something meaningful, and I really genuinely think PropSoch is onto something big. As somebody who's suffered buying homes and have burnt one too many times.
yeah,
Uh, um, and I've also liked our interaction ever since that. And your visit with your family to Dancing Frog and
yeah.
all of that is actually a really
That was
interesting
good.
one. So we start with the customary rapid fire round.
Okay.
And this is to get to know you better, put you on spot, break the ice, however you want to call it. So five questions, whatever comes to your mind. And if there is a why, you could add to it. If not, you could just yeah. Okay, we'll go with it. Let's start.
Sounds good.
Okay, sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise. Yeah.
Holiday by the beach or a trek up a mountain?
Toughest one. I've never been able to figure it out. If I have to buy a house near a beach or a mountain, I think I would end up on the beach. Yeah.
On the beach. Yeah, yeah. You're also a coastal boy, aren't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
So
From Udupi. So,
correct,
but
correct. Yeah.
I do love the
I,
Himalayas. Been there a few times. Great treks. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Love
The
it.
tough
Okay.
one. Yeah.
If you were a tree, what kind would you be?
Wow. Never thought of this one. But there's this tree in Cubbon Park which I've seen. I don't recollect its name, but it's just this. It's got this massive, massive trunk. I think it starts with B,
Banyan?
Baboa, Baboa or something.
Babua. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Baboa.
Babua.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, I
the
think it's an
it's the
African
big
breed or
chunk.
something. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I just find that tree so inspirational and
Very cool.
yeah, yeah. It's out
Yeah,
of the world.
like an
So yeah,
alien tree almost, like it looks
yeah,
like an
yeah.
alien out of the planet tree. Very cool, very
Absolutely,
cool. Okay,
absolutely. Yeah.
uh, great, great. I think that's a great answer. What is a hobby you picked up recently?
uh, well, it's not recent, but it's probably the last hobby I picked up. Recently, there's literally been no time to work on myself with respect to hobbies, but scuba diving is something which I
Very
really
cool.
enjoy. I'm a certified scuba open water scuba diver.
Very cool.
Just love doing that whenever I get a chance. Right?
Very cool.
Yeah, and again, since you mentioned that it's like the tree looks like an alien, when you're underwater, it does feel like an alien world,
Yeah,
right?
different world. Yeah,
Yeah.
very true.
So
Yeah, lovely. Great, great. Yeah, I have. I'm afraid of scuba diving. I've not done it. Maybe someday I'll do it. Okay, finally, what is your favorite book of all time and why?
I must say it's Lord of the Rings, right?
Excellent choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just kind of, I think it kind of allowed that fantasy and that magic to stay in my head as I grew up versus, just running the corporate race. Every time I pick up that book or I look at I watch the movie. And recently there was a series also which my son was watching, Power of Rings. It just takes me back to those days of when
yeah.
such things really brought a lot of wonder in my head. So
Wonderland.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, love it, love it. Great. Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
yeah, the
Although
movies are
I don't
fantastic.
know if I have the patience to read an 800 pager three series sort of a thing, but love
I
it.
read the
All
book
right, great.
first.
You read the book first? That's
Yeah,
awesome. All right, Ashish, thank you. And it sort of breaks the ice well. It brings us into this passage, but I want to start broad with you, Ashish. And
sure.
I've doing my research with this, but also a dedicated Times of India newspaper subscriber. I can really understand that the real estate in India is always a flux.
Yeah,
It's always in front and center, but people
yeah,
are always complaining about it, right? It's always been the topic for anybody. But in
yeah.
your view, what's the current state of real estate investment, especially in a place like Bangalore? What's the
Mhm.
pulse? If you could
Yeah.
start with that.
Sure, sure. So, well, I would look at real estate. When you say real estate investment, are you even talking about people who buy real estate to live in it, or are you only talking about as a financial product? So,
Let's talk about both of those because I think that would probably be one question I would have asked you is where do people invest? But maybe you could
yeah.
talk about where is it bigger or what are people thinking?
Yeah, so the way real estate is positioned today, right? I'll first let me talk about it from a supply perspective, right? Close to two-thirds of all the real estate which is being supplied in the country, and when I talk about real estate, I'm talking about gated communities which are approved by the government, right? Where all the traction is happening, is probably locked in the top 8 cities of the country, right? Two-thirds of the country's primary real estate is being sold in the top 8 cities. Now, interestingly, real estate doesn't demonstrate the characteristics of supply and demand like a lot of other industries which are supposedly high growth, right? So
Yeah.
you will see, if you look at some of these reports by some of the property consulting firms, you'll see that 4 lakh units got supplied in this particular year. Next year, it might be 4 lakh 50,000. Then one year, it might go down to 3 lakhs. So it is
Mm,
always in that range, right? Between 3 to say 5.5 lakh number of units, which are both being supplied and being consumed at any point in time. Having said that, at a very high level, India does lack supply for the kind of demand which is there. But a lot of that demand is in the affordable category, which unfortunately the supply is far, far lesser than what it should be, right? Multiple reasons for that. The unit economics don't make sense. Government has incentivized a lot of times, but you still cannot build a house which is decent enough for someone to live in the city on good land, right? At less than say 3,000 rupee per square foot kind of costing, and that is being extremely conservative. In different cities, it changes, but in a city like Bangalore, you would need to spend at least 3,000 for land plus construction, right? Now, if you spend 3,000 on that, and then you want to sell the house at 4,000 rupees, the and you want to build a decent size house. Let's say, when I say decent, I'm talking about how the government defines EWS and LIG, say 600 square feet, right? So it's still 25 lakhs. Okay, and it is not really affordable for a lot of
Sure,
people at
sure.
25 lakhs too. So yes, so that is one big segment. At the other end, there is the premium ultra luxury segment where
Yeah.
people have check sizes of 5, 7, 8 crores, but they're not able to get houses in the location that they prefer and the kind of property that they want, right? Because the bulk of the supply today is focused on the mid income, upper mid income segment. And in a city like Bangalore, that would be priced between 1 crore to 3.5 crores, right? So that's bulk of where all the supply is coming in. And honestly, bulk of where all the demand is also happening in a city like Bangalore, which is
Mm.
largely IT population driven, people who have migrated to the city and they're looking to buy their first homes or upgrading their homes. So yeah, so that's where the real estate market kind of stands, both in terms of supply, demand, and the price segments at which developers are bringing in options.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I hear you, and my wife and I are in the midst. I think I'd reached out to you as well and seeing if there are
Yeah.
homes we could buy.
Yeah.
But it's second home for us, and it's very difficult to go below it because the quality is not there, or you have to go to the suburbs if you have to afford something in a place like Bangalore,
Correct.
or if you're in the city, then the prices are unnecessarily high for the offering also, right? You're paying 6 crores for a 30-year-old apartment
Yeah.
building because it's bang in the middle of MG Road or whatever, right?
Correct.
And it's
Correct.
ridiculous because you inside the house it's just too bad.
Yeah.
But I'm also assuming that this is not a Bangalore only scenario, right? Out of the eight major cities you said, which has
Yes.
two-third, prices
Yeah.
are out of the roof and everything. Like I'm from a small town in Coimbatore, and you
Yeah.
can't buy a house less than a crore or two in
Yeah.
places like Coimbatore and all today. So
Absolutely.
there is, like you're saying, demand heavily
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. And I saw your post that said that Bangalore is 93% concrete jungle,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yet there is no supply. That's quite interesting. Do you know why? Is it just a lack of space, lack of developers' ambition?
So see, it's interesting because what is that 93% consisting of, right? It's not like Mumbai where you have an apartment every second,
Mm,
turn, right?
mm,
In Bangalore, you have a lot of low-rise housing. You have a lot of government properties, government buildings, right, which takes up a lot of land space, right? And then you have to go to the suburbs, which is why the growth is all focused beyond Outer Ring Road in Bangalore, right? Hebbal, Yelanka, Jakkur, Hennur, Tanisandra, then Sarjapur, Whitefield. Now, this is where lands are available. Now, Bangalore is an interesting city because it is landlocked, but it's got a boundary on the south with Tamil Nadu, right? So the expansion is limited on that side. So all the growth is actually happening more towards north because that's where the airport is. That's where a lot of IT and tech companies are moving in that direction. East Bangalore has predominantly been the bastion for IT, ITES services. So that's where a lot of residential projects have come up. But the reason why you cannot bring in more supply within core Bangalore is just that there is no land available. And whatever land was available has either been developed or has been cut into plots where people have built their houses on top of it. But you will see a lot of redevelopment happening, because you did mention that a property on MG Road is so expensive just because of the location, right? So what developers are going to be doing, which is exactly what happened in Mumbai, is they're going to redevelop those old buildings because they get additional FSI now, right? FSI is how much you can build per square foot or per acre of land. So developers are going to get additional FSI. So you're going to see some of these 30-year-old, 40-year-old buildings going in for redevelopment, and that's when you'll see some amount of supply coming into the core city areas.
very cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I also know the trick of going to a family home and developer buying it, saying you can take top floors for yourself, give
Yeah,
the rest out, and all of those tricks. Great.
joint
So,
development. Yeah.
yeah, joint development. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've been doing this for time immemorial at Godrej and before that as well. And you must have seen the evolution of Bangalore at least, but you've also spent a lot of time in doing this outside Bangalore across
Yeah,
India.
yeah,
Has the
yeah,
mentality of the buyers shifted from, I think you began with this in saying, what is this property for? Is it for an investment or is it
yeah,
for staying? So I
yeah.
want to get into that. Has the mentality shifted for people to say Bangalore is too expensive or cities are becoming too expensive?
Hmm.
So I'm going to ride in on this expensiveness in investing now and maybe making money out of it, or finding a place here in this hotspot city center. Where has the buyer's mentality shifted?
So buyers have evolved a lot, Vinod, from the time that I started my career, right?
Mm.
So if you see today from an end use perspective, buyers are looking, and I think most of my conversation is going to be concentrated in that 1 crore to 3 crore kind of buyer segment, right? Because
Yeah.
I
Which
just
is where the biggest demand is also.
yeah, which is where
Is
the
that
biggest demand, and frankly, I think the audience of both, your
yeah,
venture and mine fall in that segment, so
correct.
it might just
Correct.
be more relevant. So the buyers basically are looking for homes which are more spacious. Pre-COVID, the whole trend was going towards tinier and tinier houses, right? People wanted to focus on ticket size. Can I get a 3 BHK in less than 1 crore? Right now the trend has totally reversed, because now people are like some people have work from home option. Some people have realized the consequences in living in tighter, smaller houses, and they're looking for larger homes, right? And larger not only in terms of, say, a living space, but also in terms of, can I get an extra study here? Can I get larger
Mm.
balconies, so that because everyone has a trauma of being locked up at home. So
Very true.
yeah, so that
Yeah.
trauma is actually affecting the way homes are getting designed and sold today. So we see a lot of clients looking for homes with larger decks, balconies, living spaces, better floor to ceiling heights, because it does tend to get claustrophobic if you don't have some of these things in place. So customers have kind of evolved in more from price sensitivity and ticket size sensitivity to a better home sensitivity. They're happy to stretch, they're happy to take that additional loan, but they want to ensure that they're getting the right kind of property. Right now, that is from an end user perspective. From an investor perspective, over the years, real estate itself has become a lot more transparent. It still looks pretty opaque and nasty, but honestly, compared to how it was when I started in 2007, 2008, it's definitely much better. Today you have RERA mandates that
Yeah.
developers have to get all the approvals in place before RERA gives the approval. Without RERA approval, you cannot market your project. If you market your project, there are severe penalties. Again, 70% of the cash flows which come into a project have to go and sit in a RERA mandated escrow account, which has to be used only for construction. So a lot of such, and there are good consumer grievance, redressal systems. So because of this, it's become more investor friendly, right? So people are more sure that there is a higher chance that I'll get the house that I'm booking,
Yeah.
and I can always hold the developer responsible, for, say, for quality defects also, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now investors have started showing a lot of interest in real estate. Again, investors come with very different needs. Some investors come with a need of just buying for rental income, right? They say, I want that 3.5%, 4% rental income, and we'll figure out how the capital appreciation happens over a period of time. Some investors say, I don't care about rental income. I just want to 2x, 2.5, 3x my money in the next 4, 5 years, right? Some investors come with this whole thing of, I will give the token advance, okay,
Mm.
and as the project construction progresses, I will take a home loan, I'll pay the interest, and I'll flip the property before it is completed, so that I get a 2x, 3x on the equity that I've put on the table.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when so these are different ways in which people are investing in real estate today. Now, if you get into asset classes again, right, people are investing in apartments, people are investing in plots, people are investing in farm plots, right? So a lot of people are investing in fractional real estate now.
Mm.
And of course, people are investing in second homes, right,
Mm.
which could
Mm.
be or in the same city limits, or it could be in certain destinations, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so certain interesting trends which are emerging there also.
Very cool. Very cool. And when you think about with that mentality in shifting, uh,
Mhm.
have the buyers become more aware, because that's where you come in, right? Because you are creating that awareness as Propsoch.
Yeah,
Uh, so, are buyers equipped enough to make that purchase in a trustworthy way even today? Because there is still a lot of the delays in timeline, delays
yeah,
in the quality of the home, and all of that, right? Like the flooding scenario we see
yeah,
currently in the North Bangalore and all of that, right?
yeah.
So has that comfortness moved for a buyer?
A great question, Vinod. And honestly, that boils down to why we even exist at PropSource, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because buyers are very smart. Okay,
Mm,
they're no longer gullible, and they know what they're looking for. But unfortunately, buyers don't have access to data, right?
mm,
In a very structured form, and they don't have the resources to figure out insights from that data, right? How many projects can you visit and generate a comprehensive understanding of what is really happening in a whitefield market, right? Now you might even get an understanding of price points, you might even get an understanding of developers, but what about design, right? Whose master plan is better, who's got better carpet area efficiencies, whose technical specifications are better, and how do you figure out the pros and cons of each of these properties? Because land is a very, very unique thing, because one is, it's not like being manufactured. Whatever
right.
piece of land in whatever shape, size, slope, next to a lake, next to a forest, on a main road, off the main road, it's not your choice. You just have to, from a developer's perspective, which is what I did for the longest time, which was land acquisition and investments. It is about getting that piece of land and underwriting a business plan based on that particular property, right? So, from a consumer's perspective, they get lost when it comes to trying to make sense of all this different data points. So, there is a long journey, right? If you want to do it, and it typically takes 6 to 9 months for someone to kind of have a decent gut feel about which is the right property to buy. What we are trying to do is shorten that journey, reduce the stress, make it a more delightful experience for consumers by giving them the right data, layering the right insights on top of the data, and delivering it by subject matter experts. So when people work with our advisors, access our resources, they are able to take decisions much faster. So you might not believe it, but our average time to help a consumer move from initial search to actually booking a house today is 24 days at PropSearch, right? So, and this is not because we're pushing them, it's just because we're educating them. So that's exactly how we are trying to make a difference. And we hope that this category opens up, which is advisory-led home buying services
Yeah.
versus just being a broker-led service.
Well, I think technically the broker-led service should have been the advisory service. I don't think we needed
Technically,
a broker-led service in the
yeah,
first place,
yeah, yeah.
because you go to a broker with an assumption that they're able to do it. But I'm also seeing this trend, especially with onboarding collective members and what we are building at Mycelium, is this intriguing lifestyle change of being away from an urban center, not because it's economical, but
Hmm.
because the type of properties which come in the suburbans and beyond the city centers are
Yeah,
also very nature centric, are also very specific to a lifestyle, right? I mean,
yeah,
do you see in your portfolio of asks, people do say that it's okay if I'm not in the city center, but I
yeah.
want it to be much more peaceful, um,
Hmm.
for whatever reason, right?
Yeah,
At least in Bangalore, some of these urban places, suburbans have metros, so they're saying okay, connectivity wise, but otherwise, like like a good earth or total environment. A lot of
yeah,
these are building outside of the city center
yeah.
specifically. Do you see that trend continue?
Yeah, that's a again, everyone wants, and let's make it very simple. Everyone wants greenery, right? Everyone wants greenery. They want open space, and they want like that feeling of fresh air and not feeling stifled, right? Now, simple stuff like you have all this greenery in your background, these pots which you have kept in your bedroom, which is in the heart of Bangalore, right? That
Yeah.
is your attempt at bringing some greenery into your house. A lot of people have, which I think you also have, large decks and balconies where they make it a mini garden, right? A lot of people buy into societies which have large green spaces in them, common areas, right? So they look at the park size, which is something which we kind of measure at Propsoch also and educate clients. So they look at the park size within a project. They look at the density of the project. How many homes are sharing that amount of land? Right? Then comes the next layer, which is, can I move away from the city and be in a place which is more open, right? At least as of today, right? Where the development is not yet caught up, but the travel time is probably 10-15 minutes longer. But I'm able to,
Mm.
kind of have a great view from my balcony, and I can go for a walk, amidst greenery. That is one. And, from a, to put it in context, these are locations like closer to Sarjapur, right? Closer to, say, beyond Hope Farm and Whitefield, towards the Chansandra and Saukya area, towards Devnalli, right? So there are still these big green patches there where real estate projects are coming around them, and people are moving there because they have the flexibility to do so. Now, now you've gone to the fringes of the city. What do you do next? Then you go just outside the city, which is like the districts like Chikballapur, right? It is
Yeah.
a hot spot today for real estate investment, especially the Nandi Hills belt, right?
Correct.
You won't believe it, the prices there today for plots. I just heard that one of the top developers in the city is selling plots at 7,500 rupees a square foot at Nandi Hills,
Nandi
right?
Hills.
That market used to
But
be
you're also being unfair in saying Nandi Hills is outside the city. I feel like Nandi Hills is within the city, the way things are
yeah,
going. And yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I hear 7,000. Wow, wow.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and they're saying this is the Mercedes of plotted development, and we're giving this kind of greenery, this kind of pathways and road widths and stuff like that, which is great. But people are ready to pay for that kind of luxury
Sure,
also,
I'm sure.
as long as it's in the midst of nature,
Yeah,
and it's got that access to greenery.
yeah,
And people still have that thought that this could be my second home. I'll build a villa here, I'll look at Nandi Hills, spend my weekends here, right?
yeah.
Beyond that, if you go, people are investing in destinations, right?
Mm.
People are investing in Goa in a very big way, right?
Yeah.
Largely for the greenery, the access to beaches and stuff like that. And people are investing in Ayodhya for religious and spiritual purposes, right? And people are investing.
Auroville. Auroville is now
All of it.
opened up
Yeah,
as well. A lot of
absolutely.
properties I've seen
Correct.
Auroville. Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
Mm.
So is Isha's center at Chikballapur, right?
Correct, correct,
It's
correct.
again going to be a big real estate boom there because of the way Isha is creating that whole spiritual center there. So, and then people are moving into closer to forest, like work which you are doing at Mycelium. People are like, if it's only a 4 or 5 hour drive from the city, maybe once a month I can go there with my family and spend time, right? So in the in the need for access to greenery and for open spaces, people move across the spectrum, right, from the potted plant till going and living in forests. So
Yeah,
it depends
yeah,
on where you are in your life and how much of disposable income you have and how passionate you are about something like this. You decide
yeah.
which category you fall into.
Yeah. And then the shameless plug, it also depends on people like Mycelium building it, right? No, I'm kidding. But
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
really
thought I
hear you.
plugged it in for you.
Yeah, yeah. And, in a way, the farmhouse narrative had its peak during pandemic. But now I feel like the farmhouse narrative has come as a real estate default almost, right? Any ad you take, it almost says build your own greenery within the land. That
Yeah,
greenery is an important pivot. I don't know how much of that greenery is true,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
but there is this lingering thought of surround yourself with greenery is almost a real estate developer's default offering,
yeah.
similar to a clubhouse and all of that, right?
Correct,
So
correct,
that's
correct.
great, and it also I also think from just adding on from my perspective is there is this lifestyle change post pandemic where people are The work from home
Yeah.
capability has also enabled people to spend more time.
Yeah.
Um, and they continue to have a home now. They're not looking at it. That's what I'm also hearing from you, is there is a certain set of people who are
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
investing in this for the lifestyle. They want to live there,
Yeah.
and we're still lucky to have better air than some of the parts of the
Correct.
country as well, right? So,
Correct.
um, one of the talking points was around the future of spaces like Bangalore,
Mm.
future of spaces like Nandi Hills and all of that, right?
Mm.
So if somebody were to think about investing,
Yeah.
how far ahead do they have to think for an investment? Is it saying in 50 years this area won't get flooded, so I'll buy now? Or where does
Yeah.
that what are people asking when they say that, ask
Yeah.
that?
So in the times of Zepto, I don't think anyone's looking at that time of that horizon at all, right? But
One
like I
monsoon
mentioned,
away, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
And
frankly, given how the weather is shaping up, 2022 was a very bad year. And then after that, the monsoons have been slightly less crazy in terms of flooding and all in the city. So, and unfortunately, people do have a short-term memory on these things, right? Properties which actually got flooded during 2022 today are again selling at a premium. The resale prices of those properties are premium because people either don't know or they don't care or they think it will not happen again or they've been assured that fixes have been done in the drain network around because of which it won't happen again, but frankly, it's anyone's guess what will happen next.
or there was one case only, a big rain, that's it. Rain's not going to come
Yeah, yeah,
as it
yeah,
is all,
yeah.
right? Because it was just 2022, that's it. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah. So, frankly, no one knows
Yeah.
this stuff.
Wow.
We are still very, very far behind in terms of really understanding how the city's topography behaves, how the weather patterns are changing, and how it's really going to affect habitable regions, right? So, if you
Yeah.
see a lot of real estate in Bangalore today is coming up on eco-sensitive zones marked by the government as environmentally sensitive zones.
And lakes
Uh,
as well. I'm
lakes,
viewing I'm
yeah,
viewing the Varatur Lake at the moment,
yeah,
and the amount of development which has happened on the lake.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you're no longer viewing Lakeview apartments; it's within the lake apartments, right?
yeah.
And yeah,
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 so
yeah.
that's pretty crazy. So when these projects come up, they prevent groundwater from getting recharged naturally. They
Mhm.
are encroaching on the overflow zones of all these lakes and water bodies. So when things go bad, then it gets really bad in such locations, right? So
And we have this unique resilience also. I was in Chennai when that major flood happened, and somewhere I saw a photograph which had a new developer, like a small apartment complex, with the first three floors is empty.
uh,
Like it's like a high rise, and the reason is they don't want to give up on not building, but saying if the flood comes, the first two only will get affected. So you're on
yeah,
the fourth floor and above, right? So
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
we now find ways to work around it, and that's
yeah,
awesome. But I wanted to ask that question because, like, I think you said it very well, which is we tend to forget. We have this goldfish memory when it comes to incidents, and we think that we won't happen, it won't happen.
yeah,
Great, Ashish. So I'm going to now shift a bit uh, towards this intersection of mycelium and what you see in your world, right? At mycelium, like you were talking, we are trying to
yeah,
bring investments in nature
yeah,
with all the ethos of a real estate, because you have to develop. I think you said it very well, which is we have a land, and the land is not developed by us. The land comes and then you sort of add your elements around it and say, now this is this you
yeah,
make from an X, you make the Y, right? So one of the things we've been doing, as you know, is investing in real estate in the equity model
yeah,
for a couple of reasons. One is some of the gaps on the traditional investments are property tax, owning the resale, at the time of resale, registration,
Yeah.
and all of that. And
Yeah.
then there is this new idea that equity based may make you enter and exit faster. It's for
Yeah.
different set of people. Obviously, it's not for people who look at appreciation of the land, like you were
Yeah.
saying, 4 to 5% in the rental
Correct.
income, all of that.
Yeah.
But as we've explored it, and you and I have also spoken about it, does this model have a potential to grow, especially in a place like Bangalore, where or any other like Pune or places like that, where
Yeah.
5 hours away is like a beautiful ecosystem. So it's not like they have to be in Delhi and then come all the way here.
Right. Right.
But the model are okay, that's one, the equity based. And then the second is, do you see any other model? You spoke about fractional. What
Yeah.
are other trends other than this traditional buying you see people offer at developers or people are asking?
Yeah, yeah. No, so I think let's talk about what has been the problem in some of these models in
Yeah,
the past, right? Because that is where the challenges might come up when you try to uh, get clients for your properties. You need to know what has happened in the past. So I think some of the scams which have happened in the past, right?
yeah,
Like say all these things of invest in plantation land, get so much of returns per annum. You go there, there's nothing there, you don't get any returns. Then things like holiday homes, shared holiday homes, right? Zero maintenance, very badly managed properties. You're locked in. Now you can't go on a normal holiday because you feel you have put your capital here to take your family on a holiday, but the property is so badly managed that you end up having a bad experience. So these things have actually broken the trust of general public in investing in something which is equity based, which is shared based, right? Which is even fractional based. So
yeah,
what does it
yeah,
really boil down to? It boils down to the pedigree of the operators, right? Like where are they really coming from? Are they just land sharks? Are they trying to flip a piece of land by packaging it with some interesting return story? Or are they founders and promoters with long-term vision, right? Which is going to be the make or break for any company which is building in this space. So you have to, one is you have to overcome the sins of what people have done in the past in such locations, and
yeah,
then you have to tell the true story of what your long term vision is. So that is very important. Now, whether people are buying on equity, whether people are buying fractional real estate, those are things which people can be educated about. They can be they can be it can be de-risked to a large extent, right? And de-risking happens through transparency. So the more you share about what are the pros and cons of this model versus them going and buying a land themselves in that area, then who's going to manage that land, who's going to protect it, is there any inherent value creation which is happening in that property. If you're able to lay that out in a very clear manner, then I don't
mm,
see people really getting stuck up on the model itself, right? And also possibly exit options, right? You might have to have a clear path of exit. Either it could be a buyback, it could be a secondary marketplace which you create where people can sell their shares and equity in these properties. You might have to create such options which
yeah.
make it more lucrative and liquid for people to come in and exit if they really need to.
Makes
Because you
sense.
have to,
Makes
because
sense.
there are two things which you're doing. We know that mycelium. One is you're asking people to invest beyond their city, right? In
Correct.
3 4 hours of it.
Correct.
The second you're asking them is to invest it in a model which they are not used to.
Used to. That's
So
true. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
So,
then for us also, I think these are two important gaps we are almost filling, right? Because it's not an investment with a 4 or 5% rental income increment. It's an
yeah.
investment for almost the soul, which is probably my second question to you is. Do you also see a trend of people truly investing because they believe in that landscape? They believe in this idea that they want to live in places like that. Is that still there? People invest in real estate because they want to be grounded, or has real estate just become for the sake of investing and making money?
No, no, I don't think it's reached the stage where people only. Uh, I think I lost you there.
No, no, sorry, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah. No, so I was saying that I don't think it's reached a stage where people look at real estate like the equity market where you put your money in, get a return, and exit. There is a lot of emotion involved. So I typically like to
mm,
say this, right? People buy real estate either based on emotions, right? Like your family is growing, you want to give them a better lifestyle, better experience. You want to be a better parent, right? So to say, another,
yeah,
and it could also be your own lifestyle. You want to like live in a great gated community. So that's largely driven by emotions. The second part is largely driven by what kind of returns can I get, which I spoke about earlier
yeah,
too. And the third thing, which is probably something which you're playing in, is how does it appeal to my own value system, right?
yeah.
Does it make me feel like I've contributed something to a larger cause, right? And if I feel that way, and I know that there are 10 other people who would feel the same way, so tomorrow, if I have to exit this thing, and if the operators have built out the story that was promised when I was buying this, then how much value could this potential investment get me, right?
Very
So,
true.
yeah, so they start from the fact that is it appealing to my values? Am I a forest person? Do I want to live in a forest? I want a beach person. I want to live near the beach. It appeals to my values and my
Yeah.
aspirations. Now, are there a lot more people who are like me who will tomorrow come and buy it from me if things really go well, right?
Mm,
And if you're able to get people to understand that bit, it's 50% of the problem solved, right? The second
solid.
50% is, of course, to bring them to the site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then not get them bitten by leeches and all of that.
Yeah.
But that's part of the solution than the problem, I think.
Correct.
All right. Okay. I think we are almost at the end of it. But let me ask you one question, which is probably again out of syllabus, which is um, where's the best place to invest in Bangalore today, according to you? If you were to choose one location where some of these greenery is considered, some of well-developed idea of development is not too in the future, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's a safe space, water is there, air is clean, and all of that. How far away from Bangalore do you have to go for you to buy it?
From how you described it, I would say you have to go to Tamil Nadu
Tornado.
towards
Yeah, then
literally
Tenikote, Krishnagiri, and all of that.
Krishnagiri and
But
all
with
that.
the airport coming there, I don't know what's going to happen there too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
quite interesting. Yeah,
It's got potential. It's just a psychological barrier of going into a different state, right? But then again, if I had a second choice, and trust me, uh, we advise so many clients. A lot of people ask my personal opinion, saying what you would do, and I would
yeah,
tell them,
yeah.
and they would not do the same thing because it is a completely personalized decision making process, right?
Very
So
true. Very true.
yeah, I would tell people that I would buy that plot in Nandi Hills. I probably won't pay
Nandi.
7,000, 7,500 for it. If I got it at
Mhm.
3,000 bucks, I'd probably pick it up because the air is definitely cleaner. It is sufficiently
Exactly.
far away from the city for it to not become super urbanized in the next 10, 20 years, right?
Mm.
So, but it is also near enough for properties to appreciate, and it's got its
Very
own
true.
USP. It's got its USP of
Yeah,
Nandi
yeah.
Hills. So
Nandi
probably I
Hills, the
would.
sunrise at the Nandi Hills.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
and also those beautiful hillocks and the hills across and everything, right?
yeah, the whole
It's
range.
quite an interesting place. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. I was actually hoping you would say somewhere in North Bangalore, but that seemed to be the hot spot now. Everybody
But
seemed to
that is
be
not Bangalore actually.
saying, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not Bangalore, true. That's true. Okay, all right, Ashish. I really appreciate your time. I want to take a moment to. Uh, talk to the audience in saying that this has been long pending. You and I have been dilly
Yeah.
dallying, mostly me dilly dallying on putting this together. But as somebody who is seeing the small side of real estate through my line of work, although I'm not in true real estate, I still believe that the buyer's mentality when they talk to us is very much pegged around it because it's investment for a home, investment for a land at the end of the day. So I want to say that you and I are in the business of giving the right owner the right set of land so they can take care of it in their right way, right? Because that's what you're doing, is finding them the right place. It's a home, it's a special thing, even if it's a second or a third home.
Yeah.
You've given us a lot to think about in terms of how we approach real estate, how we look at both as an investment standpoint, and also I really wanted to take back some of those two-thirds of the two-thirds of the development are happening in the eight major cities. That
Yeah.
shows a lot of potential on the one-third, right? The one-third, I'm sure, is the greenest, is the most
Yeah.
purest, because
True.
in cities there is no more greenery
True.
left. Uh,
True.
uh, but
That's a good way to
but
look at
yeah,
it.
yeah, I mean, I think that's what we want to go, is the one third, where the two
Right.
third is not there almost.
Absolutely.
But yeah, whether it's in the city or somewhere, I still think that people do appreciate some of the support you're doing and the work, because I think it's important they know what they buy into.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ashish, again for your time and for recording this with me. And I
My
hope
pleasure.
to see you soon in Dancing Frog habitat with the family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you. And yeah, until for the audience, until the next time, thank you very much for listening in. And we hope to see you in the next session, which is even more into this idea of education and all of that. So we'll reach out to you. But thank you again. Thank you, Ashish. Have a good
Thank you, Vinod. Take care. Bye.